This is Embodied Success, the podcast, where we explore topics that help to balance your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. With these four elements interacting in harmony, we can experience joy in both our career and personal lives. This is Embodied Success. Hello and welcome to Embodied Success, the podcast. This is your host, Sarah Ann Ferguson, somatic practitioner and quantum living mentor. And today we are going to be talking about the quantum field and manifestation. So I wanted to talk about this topic today because as a quantum living mentor who helps people to see their infinite potential and what's available to them from the quantum field, I often get asked, what is the quantum field? Like, what does that mean? It feels to a lot of people like an ambiguous concept. And, our brains can't really grasp this idea of a quantum field. But that's changing. As humanity's consciousness begins to evolve, we are actually starting to think more on a quantum level, which is why I'm super excited to do this episode today, because it's just important stuff to think about. And it's exciting. We're living in the quantum age. And so if we can start to draw in these ideas and apply them to our daily lives, we are actually infinite and unlimited in what we can do and how we can be. So to begin, I'll just give a very brief history of quantum physics, or before quantum physics, what was believed before quantum physics. And then I'll talk about some key ideas. And then once we kind of get a grasp on that, I'll move in to talking about the quantum field and how knowing what we know can help us to manifest the life of our dreams. So basically, before the scientific revolution in the 16th century, the predominant view of the universe was geocentric. So that means that based on Greek philosophy and religious views, the Earth was considered to be at the center of the universe. And then we had, in the mid-16th century, we had the scientific revolution. And so the understanding of the physical world became largely based on classical physics. So this meant that the Earth was no longer seen to be at the center, and that it was understood that with other planets, it orbits the sun. And then we discovered things like the law of motion and gravity, and started to understand that things operate through mathematical equations, and we can understand things through empirical evidence, and that there's natural laws that see the universe as this complex machine rather than influenced by supernatural forces. So towards the end of the 19th century, scientists started to realize that several phenomena could not be explained by classical physics. And so this led to the development of quantum physics. So at the early start of the 20th century, there was the birth of the quantum concept. And this was by German theoretical physicist Max Planck. So he laid the foundation of the development of quantum physics. And so he is considered the father of quantum theory. And there's lots of other physicists that then went on to develop these ideas of quantum physics. Lots people like Einstein and Heisenberg and Schrödinger and many more. But I'm going to leave it there because I could do a whole episode and more on the history. So that's just a very basic history and just shows how new these ideas are. And so let's talk about some of the key ideas. So what exactly is quantum physics? So it's a branch of physics explaining how very, very tiny things like atoms and subatomic particles behave. So it's the science of very small things. And its key ideas are, firstly, tiny particles. So there's particles that are very, very small, like electrons and protons and photons, so particles of light. And then there's wave-particle duality. So these particles behave both like particles and like waves. And they can be in different places at once and spread out like waves on a pond. So then there's quantization. So energy, matter, and other properties can only exist in specific amounts or quanta, and it's like having only a certain amount of steps in a staircase rather than having just a smooth ramp. So then there's the uncertainty principle. So there are limits to how precisely we can know certain properties of a particle at the same time. So what this looks like is we can't know exactly where an electron is and how fast it's moving simultaneously. So then there is superposition. So particles can exist in multiple states at once. So this looks like an electron can be in two places at the same time until we measure it. And the last key idea that I'm going to mention is entanglement. So particles can become linked so that the state of one instantly affects the state of another, no matter how far apart they are. So if you've heard the term quantum entanglement, this is what it means. That we are all connected, and something that we do or we feel through quantum entanglement can affect someone else somewhere far, far away, on the other side of the world, the other side of the universe. Okay, so those are the key ideas. And so because classical physics couldn't explain certain things like the behavior of atoms and the properties of light, there had to be something else. And so that's how quantum physics began to become developed. And with this knowledge, certain technologies we saw become developed, things like semiconductors, lasers, and quantum computers. And now quantum computing is something that I will do an episode on in the future, as it's a very, very fascinating topic that I think there's a lot of fear around. But if we can understand quantum computing and how we can use it as as a humanity for good, I don't think we need to be scared. There's no reason to fear these advancements in technology because of the way that our consciousness is evolving. But I won't get too carried away with that. I'll save that for a whole nother episode. So now I just want to paint a little picture for you. I want you to imagine a tiny particle like an electron. And this particle can be both a particle and a wave at the same time. And it can be in more than one place at the same time. Its energy comes in little pockets, not a continuous flow. If this particle gets entangled with another particle, what happens to one affects the other instantly, even if they're far apart. So I'm going to continue to paint this picture, but as I move into the quantum field, but before I do talk about the quantum field, I'm just going to talk a little bit about observation and measurement, because this is important. So to understand the quantum field, it's important to understand that when we observe or measure a particle, something interesting happens. And that is that the act of observation causes the particle to choose a specific state or a position out of all the possible ones. So this process is called the collapse of the wave function. So I'll give an example here so you can kind of see it more easily in your mind's eye. Imagine a coin spinning in the air. And in the air, it's both heads and tails at the same time. So this is superposition. When you catch it in your hand and it stops spinning and shows either heads or tails, that is observation. So this means that the observer plays a crucial role because the act of observing or measuring changes the state of what's being observed. So what does this say about us creating the life of our dreams? I think this is an important idea to remember when you're wanting to create the reality that you enjoy. And it shows us that we are co-creators. We are co-creating with the quantum field because we are particles in the quantum field, but we are also observing particles in the quantum field. So that means that what we think, how we behave, what we do, what we say, affects our reality. So at the quantum level, reality is not fixed until it's observed. And particles are in a state of probabilities and possibilities until someone observes them. So this is why I say that we have infinite potential. Because we do. There are infinite possibilities that can come through to us from this quantum field. But how we access these infinite potentials depends on our state. And our state depends on our conditioning. So we have been conditioned to believe that we are who we are, how we are, because of X, Y, Z. Whether it be from our ancestors, our DNA that has been passed on through 14 plus, I think science has proven now that we can inherit back 14 generations from our ancestors. So our DNA conditions us. And then our upbringing, so our family, our culture, our society, the world we live in conditions us. We receive conditioning all the time from the world around us. And until we see that we have this conditioning, and it's these layers that have been stacked on top of us from various reasons, we aren't able to realize our potential. But once we know that this is something that we can change, we then can do the work, the somatic work, the energetic work to remove these layers of conditioning, to break these old patterns, so that then we are changing the filter of what's available to us from the quantum field. So our conditioning is the filter. It's what's allowing whatever comes through as the observer, as the co-creator of our life and our reality. This is all affected by our filter or what we are conditioned to believe. So once we can start to do this work, which is as a somatic practitioner and quantum living mentor, this is what I do with my clients. I help them work through their conditioning so that they can see their infinite potential and then realize I can co-create with the quantum field, and I can create the reality that I want to be living. I don't actually have to live this life that I don't enjoy. So let's talk about the quantum field. And let's think of it in terms of energy. So I'm sure you've heard the saying that everything is energy. And this is what we're talking about when we talk about the quantum field, because the quantum field can be seen as this invisible ocean of energy that fills the entire universe. And everything around us, including us, is a part of this ocean. And in this ocean, particles like electrons and photons are seen as little ripples or waves. So instead of thinking about them as tiny balls, you can imagine them as disturbances or vibrations in this energy field. So everything is then energy, and everything is interconnected through this quantum field. And this is quantum entanglement. So changes or movements in one part of the field can affect other parts, no matter how far apart they are. So what can this tell us about manifestation and creating the life where we get to live our infinite potential? The first thing we do is we begin to see our thoughts as energy. And so just like these tiny particles, our thoughts and emotions are also forms of energy. And when you think or feel something, you're creating ripples, waves in the quantum field. So that means we get to create our reality with these thoughts. And so these ripples or vibrations from your thoughts can influence the quantum field, potentially bringing about changes in your physical reality. So that is what we call manifestation. So then, when we apply focus and intention on what we desire, that is how we bring it about. So by focusing our thoughts and intentions on what we desire, we're sending out specific vibrations to the quantum field. And the more focused and the more positive that these vibrations are, the more likely that you are going to attract similar energy and manifest your desires. So I've laid out 5 simple steps to manifestation that you can do. And the first one is you want to set clear intentions. So decide on what it is you want to manifest and be very specific and positive about your desires. And the next step, you want to visualize. So imagine your desire as if it's already happened. See it, feel it, and experience it in your mind. And then you're going to feel the emotions. You're going to feel the emotions that come with achieving your desire. And these emotions are going to amplify the vibrations that you send out to the quantum field. The next step is you stay positive. You maintain a positive mindset and avoid doubt. You can let doubt creep in, but just boop, let it go. Negative thoughts can create conflicting vibrations that hinder manifestation. And sometimes you can end up manifesting what you don't want because that's what you focused on. And you let those doubtful thoughts and negative thoughts come in and attract the wrong thing. So the last step you can take is take action. And so while thoughts and emotions are powerful, taking real world action towards your goals is going to help align the energy and bring out the desired changes. So I'll give an example of how this could look like for you. Say you were trying to manifest a dream job. So you would set your intention. So you're going to clearly decide you want the job. And this job is going to make you happy and it's going to use your skills. So next you're going to visualize the job. So picture yourself in that job. You're doing tasks, interacting with colleagues, and feeling satisfied. Next, you're going to feel the emotions. You're going to feel the joy and the confidence and the excitement of having that job. And then you're going to stay positive. You're going to keep a positive outlook, believing that you will get the job. Believe in yourself. And then you're going to take action. You're going to apply for jobs, prepare your resume, go to interviews, and network. This is inspired action because you're doing it. You're manifesting it, and then you're taking the action. And so that's it. There it is. That is how you manifest. That is how you co-create with the quantum field to bring about what you want in your reality. And so by understanding the quantum field as this interconnected ocean of energy, and you're using your thoughts and emotions to create ripples in it, you're going to be able to align yourself with the outcomes and desires by effectively manifesting them into your reality. It's that simple. So that's that. I hope that this episode has been helpful or inspiring in some way. And as always, if you want to chat about this episode, please reach out to me. You can send me an email or you can send me a DM on Instagram or TikTok. I'll drop all that info in the show notes. And I'll leave these steps and these key ideas in the show notes as well, so you can go back to them. And if you're looking for help in doing the deep work, so you can start gaining access to your infinite potential, then reach out to me. I've got multiple one-to-one offers that I do of quantum somatics, which combines somatic practices with quantum human design, so that you can have the support to shed these layers of your conditioning while being shown your infinite potential. and what's available to you once you rid yourself of this outdated programming. So just reach out and chat to me, and I'll also leave a link to my one-to-one offers in the show notes so you can check them out yourself. And so thank you for listening, and I will see you on the next episode.